Hey everybody, welcome back to the 815 Sports Podcast. Week 3 here. We got Drew as our special guest picker on this week's episode. I'm sure you guys have seen him on the podcast before if you've watched. And also, we finally hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, which took a while, but we finally got there. So pretty good accomplishment for Jake and I. Week 2, Packers got the win. A lot of serious injuries across the NFL. My fantasy team's depleted. Jake's lost his quarterback for 4 weeks at least. Cooper Cup's out for probably at least 4 weeks. Debo's out for 2 to 3 weeks. Pacheco's out for 6 to 8 weeks. The list goes on and on. But overall, it was another fun week in the NFL. Lots of upsets. We're going to kick this right off with Thursday Night Football in New England at the Jets. Jake, I'll let you pick first.
I'm going to take the Jets. I think they're better. I think they're at home. And obviously, Aaron Rodgers looked all right. So anytime you got him, you got a chance. Even though I think New England has kind of surprised some people this year, right?
Yeah.
1-0, lost at home in overtime to Seattle. Could be 2-0. So that's a formidable team. It's a divisional game on a Thursday night. It's probably going to be closer than you might expect, but I'm going to take the Jets.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm also going to take the Jets. I think just having Rodgers on the field is huge, but he started to get more comfortable in the offense. The way he's able to.
They didn't look really good versus Tennessee either, though. So, but when you got that wood fucking Stephen A. used to call him.
That bad man?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I mean, he's going to continue to get better in that offense. He made a really good audible last week against the Titans, which I saw on ESPN. They showed they were going to call a pass play, and he ended up identifying the linebackers, called a run play, handed it off to Braylon Allen, and he ran in 20 yards for a touchdown. But I'm going to take the Jets in this game. New England, like Jake said, has been playing pretty well, but I just think the Jets are better, and I think they're going to get it done. Drew?
I like the Jets.
Yeah, that's it?
Yep.
That's all Drew's got. Okay. Giants-Browns.
A battle of the shit shows.
This is going to be a horrible game.
Aren't they both 0-2?
No, Cleveland beat Jacksonville last week.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Barely, right? Wasn't that
Win to win, though.
18-13?
Yeah.
I think this is a game that Cleveland's got to win. I mean, you can't lose to the Giants. They're very bad, and I'm off the train. I've been on the Giants train for years since we've been doing this. I've always picked them in a lot of games, and they've always let me down. So I'm over it. I think Daniel Jones is not the answer. I don't really think it's all on him. I think that's kind of a team that doesn't know what direction they want to go. So I'm going to take Cleveland based on I think they've got more talent.
Yeah, I'm going to take Cleveland for that reason, too. They're at home. Not that it really matters because a lot of the home teams got beat last week. But the Giants, I don't trust Daniel Jones. He's threw more touchdowns to the other team since he signed that contract than his own team. So I'm going to go with the Browns.
I like the Browns, too. Not just simply the fact they're at home. I'd pick them if it was in New York, too. But I just think the Giants are terrible.
I don't think the Giants – the Giants might struggle to win a game, right? I mean, they had – who'd they lose to? They lost to Minnesota at home in week 1.
Yeah.
And then they lost to –
They lost to Washington.
They scored 3 touchdowns. Washington scored 0, and they lost.
21-18, right? Yeah.
So, I mean, I just don't know where a win comes from unless they play Carolina.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand, too, how they scored the 3 touchdowns. They went for 2 every time.
I don't understand how in year – what year is this with Daniel Jones and Brian DeBall?
At least 5 years. He's been in the NFL at least 5 years.
I don't understand the direction. I mean, this is a big market team. I don't. I mean, they're not even. What's the word I'm looking for?
Formidable.
They're not even a formidable team. I mean, they just suck. They flat out suck.
Yeah. Next up, we got Indiana at home against the Bears. The Bears looked pretty bad Sunday night. I mean, I'm not going to say awful.
I mean,
and it's only 2 games into the Caleb Williams experience.
I don't think Houston looked that good either, though.
No.
Houston, both of their defenses looked really good. That's the thing that's going to separate Houston from teams, I think, is they're going to figure out how to score, and that defense looked pretty good.
Yeah. No, they definitely have a lot of weapons on both sides of the ball.
Look, for this Bears team in this schedule and before the season started, you knew that game was going to be tough. Even if Caleb Williams balled out, you knew going into Houston in week 2 was going to be tough on the road. So I don't know that it's time to panic. I don't know what their offense is doing. I mean, it might be time to start swirling heads if you're in the Bears front office about the offense because it looks very bad. I mean, they've scored one offensive touchdown, right? And it was a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
So they've got to figure their offense out. Indianapolis is coming off of an 0-2 start, and they played a really good Houston team week 1 and played them neck to neck. And they played the Packers week 2, kind of just didn't show up. Packers took that game from the start. But,
their run defense is pretty
only
pathetic.
10-16. I mean, it's not like they got blown out. Their defense obviously kept them in it.
Yeah.
So I still think the Colts have a chance to be a decent team.
Yeah.
And I think they get on track. I'm taking the Colts. I think they get on track this weekend at home, even though it's going to probably be a lot of
Bears fans.
Bears fans.
I'm sure there will. Now, if I'm going to go with an upset of the week, now they both have won a game, Jake. So if I pick this as an upset, would that you count that or not?
Well, who's favored?
I would assume the Colts are favored. I'll take a look.
Yeah, it's an upset.
The Bears have won a game, so
okay.
Yeah, but that don't mean the
Indy is favored by. I wrote it down. I think it's 1.5. One or one.
I still think Indianapolis is
1.5. 1.5.
Okay. So basically, though, like from the Bears' perspective, I think what they got to do is run the damn ball. I mean, each team that's played against the Colts so far this year has ran for at least 200 yards, and the Packers had almost 250 in the first half. They didn't really have Malik Willis. Didn't have to do much besides like literally just short passes, and then he gave one jump ball to Dobbs.
Don't you think that Caleb Williams has got to get going in a rhythm? I mean, you got to get this guy throwing short.
He should already have 2 touchdown passes, but the guy drops.
He doesn't.
I know he doesn't, but I'm just.
So you got to get him going. You got to get quick passes, slants, 5 and outs, 5 and outs to the sidelines, like screens, anything. Get the ball out. He can't be sitting in that pocket and running around with like a chicken with his head cut off, throwing it downfield because he looks just like Justin Fields did.
Their line.
Does that not remind you of what Justin Fields did last year?
It does, but their line also looks pretty bad.
That's why the shit's got to be quick.
Yeah.
And they've got the receivers and they've got the speed and talent to do it.
Yeah, but I would kind of slow down on the Rome Odunze hype because, I mean, that guy's getting a lot of hype. But
you're right.
He's had some brutal drops.
With that offensive line, you could have anybody back there and it'd be tough.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to play in Chicago with all the hype he has.
Yeah.
Williams, it's like, I mean, it took Jordan Love till week 8 or 9. I mean, he showed some flashes, but it was pretty ugly for a while. And it's like, that's Chicago sports in a nutshell. They're going to want this kid's head by week 5. And then by week 12, if he's playing good, they're going to love him.
I think that's pretty much the case with anybody.
I know, but specifically, I think that stands out a lot in Chicago sports. You see it with everybody.
Yeah.
I just think that's because this state lives or dies by the Bears and the Cubs. Like, if you're not doing well within 2 weeks, they want you gone. And then you pick back up, and then they love you
There's
again.
a lot of cities that are kind of nuts like that, too, though. I mean, look at, like,
I know, but you literally just said
I know, but I think
that Chicago's like that. I'm telling you why.
I don't know if it's just because we're from here, but I feel like they emphasize it a lot. Like, they did that with Fields, too, and I don't think that whole situation was his fault.
Fields looks pretty decent so far this year.
Well, the Steelers can't score.
Well,
let's be real.
Well, I'm just saying they do have they'll probably end up making the playoffs.
Well,
they'll be fringe. They are every year.
We've always said that. Mike Tomlin, I don't know. He wins.
But I'm going to pick the Colts just so we keep this moving. I'm picking the Colts. Drew?
I agree. Colts.
Okay.
I mean, this is probably game of the week.
Houston at Minnesota. Who would have thought Sam Darnold would be in the MVP conversation along with Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield? I wouldn't have guessed that.
After 2 weeks.
I wouldn't have guessed that. But
this is a good game.
Both undefeated.
Minnesota's an unexpected 2-0. Houston's kind of 2-0 where you expected. I mean, like I told you before the season started, I told you Minnesota just always finds a way. Like they always just find a way to win.
Tough place to play there.
But I like Houston in this game. I just think I like Houston. If it becomes a shootout, I like Houston more than I like Minnesota in a shootout. I also really like Houston's defense.
Minnesota's defense is pretty good too, honestly.
And I loved when I watched the Bears in Houston. I loved the Houston's offensive line.
Yeah.
When the Bears brought more than 4 or 5, I mean, he just stepped up and he had time. So I like Houston. I don't know if it's an upset.
Yeah, I don't know.
2.5.
Who's favored?
Houston.
So it's not. But even if it was, I like Houston. I just think they're more talented.
I'm gonna take Houston as well. Like Jake said, I think overall they're more talented. Now Minnesota has looked pretty damn good though to start the year. I'm not.
San
It's
Francisco
at home.
is more talented, so you know what I mean. Like who knows?
But I'm gonna take Houston in this one. I think Stroud's the better quarterback. Not the better quarterback always wins, but I think that he and the Texans are gonna get it done on Sunday.
Yeah.
Drew?
I got Houston also. I think coming off that big win for the Vikings, I think their luck might run out a little bit. I mean, they're not as bad as people expected, but I still don't think they're going to be any better than like maybe a 500 team.
You talking about Minnesota?
Yeah.
I kind of agree.
I kind of agree.
Luck will run out. I think that
by week 8 they'll be 4-4 or 5-3.
I think that what we've seen through
5
2
and 3
weeks,
is not bad.
I know, but
what we've seen through 2 weeks is that literally any team can be beaten.
Well, I would kind of expect that every year in the NFL.
No, but normally what team sticks out for you so far?
The Saints.
The Saints.
The Saints.
I
I can't believe the Saints.
Bucks too.
Yeah, the Bucs look pretty good.
The Bucs look pretty good, but I mean, Detroit kind of choked that game away with Stafford throwing 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter, going to score. I mean, but I just think there's so much.
I've never really been a huge Goff guy, so.
So we all got Houston, right?
Yeah, we all got Houston. Up next, Philly at New Orleans.
This is another good game.
Like we were just saying, New Orleans has looked phenomenal to start the year. They've scored. Their starters have scored every drive they've been in. Like whether it's field goal or touchdown, they've scored 15 out of 15 drives. I saw a stat. Kamaro's looked phenomenal. And Philadelphia, they should have won the other night.
What Sirianni finally fucked up. He's fucked up so many times, and he's gotten away with it, and he finally fucked up. He should have not called. What did he do in the fourth quarter?
I was sleeping. But
okay, so it was. I think
it accepted the penalty.
No, it was either 2nd down and 1 or 3rd and 1, and it was right at the 2-minute warning, and Atlanta had all 3 timeouts, so they tried jumping on purpose to give them the 1st down because that would actually help them.
Yeah,
and they declined it, and it kept it 2nd down, and then it got to 3rd down, and then that was when they threw the ball.
Right.
To Barkley.
So if they throw on 4th down, they get to waste 40 seconds. Or if they run on 4th down, they get to waste 40 seconds. The clock would have went. Yeah.
No.
On 4th down, it stops.
No, because
you guys are
3rd
talking
down.
about 4th down.
No, because remember they declined the penalty.
Right.
So they used a timeout when it went from 2nd down to 3rd down, and then they threw on 3rd down. So they left them, I think, 1 timeout or 2 timeouts. But if they would have ran that ball right there. No, they left them with 1. They would have had 0 if they would have just threw the ball or ran the ball right there.
And then that throw to who dropped it? Was it Barkley?
Well, here's the thing.
Would have won the game.
I don't think it was a bad play call.
Here's the thing. I don't disagree with that play call because, I mean, you're deep in field goal range regardless. And if you run a play like that and it's not there, you either just go down while staying in bounds and the clock will keep rolling, or you complete that pass, but you'd think he'd catch it.
I just think that Philadelphia is kind of a carbon copy of last year towards the end, right?
Yeah.
They just aren't playing well.
I think they're overrated.
They escaped Green Bay.
Yeah.
They should have escaped Atlanta, but then they would have been a bad 2-0. Like if there's such thing as a bad 2-0, they would have been. But I think I'm going to take the Saints.
Yeah.
Just off of how both teams are playing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I agree. I'm also going to take the Saints. To me, the Saints have looked. I'm just going to come out and say it. I think the Saints have looked like the best team in football through 2 weeks.
Yeah, on both.
I'm just saying through 2 weeks, I think they've looked like the best team in football, and they're at home and they've renovated their stadium. Not that matters, but I think that they're going to be.
Buffalo's got a case too.
Yeah, but I really do think New Orleans. I think New Orleans is more complete to Philadelphia right now. Like you said, they're kind of figuring things out. They don't seem to be meshed. You know what I mean? Like New Orleans seems meshed already.
Well, yeah. I still don't know that I'm buying. They've got more talent than Philly.
Did I say that?
Well, who did you say had more talent?
I said I think Philly has more talent overall.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But I mean, New Orleans has nobody to bat an eye at. I mean, they still got Kamara. Derek Carr's a decent NFL quarterback who looks pretty damn good right now. Chris Olave, a few guys on defense that are really good. Cam Jordan, Demario Douglas, Davis. They look pretty good. I'm going to take the Saints. Drew?
I like the Saints too. I think they're hot, and Philly with no A.J. Brown will be a struggle. And I just want to correct myself. It was 3rd and 1 on that, and then they did the tush push, and then it went to 1st down, and then they used all 3 of their timeouts.
Who?
Atlanta
did
to get the ball back.
So even if on that 3rd down, if they run it, they run 40 seconds off the clock, and if they don't get it, they can kick a field goal.
Right? Yeah, they were
and give them the ball with like 1:05. Instead, they threw it.
Yeah,
incomplete. Now they have 1:50.
I screwed up. Atlanta was out of timeouts.
That's why I think they should have ran it.
If they ran that ball, that would have been a minute and not 1:40.
Right, it was huge.
How about the field goals they passed up on last night too?
That's why you can't.
First quarter was 4th and 4, and they went
can't always go for it. I mean, I know that's the new NFL, and everybody, including you two, probably wants your teams to go for it. But you look at the end of score games. How many games come down to a couple points?
Yeah,
a lot.
Most of them, really.
So take the fucking points.
Yeah.
Unless you're inside the 10 and it's 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
4th and 1, 2, whatever. But
it wasn't like a situation. It was early in the game too. They could have just taken the points. It's early not. They weren't.
Game, I feel like that's what separates good teams from bad teams, though. Like Kansas City, if it's 4th and 4 or less and they're across the 50, they're going for it.
Yeah,
every time.
Yeah. Okay. They're a branch of their own.
I know, but still.
I think they've gained that. They've earned that respect.
That just makes you wonder how far Philly may have fell off, though. I mean, they were right there with them in the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah, probably should beat them.
Pretty much this very similar team besides adding Barkley.
Yeah.
So we got Chargers
up next,
at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, 2 undefeated teams.
Who kind of would have thought this?
The Chargers look pretty good. I mean, I'm surprised they're doing as well as they're doing, just because I didn't think Herbert had anybody to throw to, but they look pretty damn good.
This is a tough game for me to pick.
Yeah. How you feeling?
For some reason, I just like the Chargers. I just don't know about Pittsburgh yet. What do you guys think?
Well, so far we've picked about the same each time, and I'm seeing Drew's pick here. I also am liking the Chargers. I've never been a Fields guy, but
he's looked good.
I'm not saying that he hasn't looked good, but I'm just saying I'm not a Fields guy.
I just don't know if I can.
I like the Chargers.
I'm going to take the Chargers.
I kind of like the Chargers.
The Steelers are a 2-point favorite.
Are they?
Yeah, I don't know. Dobbins had a good game last week.
Both well-coached teams.
Yeah.
Both well-coached teams.
I think Lad McConkey has good potential to get going too.
Yeah.
I think he could be kind of like last year's Puka in fantasy, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take.
Who else is Herbert gonna throw to? Really?
Johnston. Remember? He had 2 touchdowns last week, and he couldn't catch a cold last year.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the Chargers.
All right, so we haven't differed on a pick yet. Up next, Denver at Tampa. I'm not going to speak for everybody here, but I'm sure we're probably going to have the same pick in this one. Denver 0-2 to start the year. Tampa Bay looks really good. Baker looks really good.
Yeah,
they're at home. I'm taking the Bucs.
I got the Bucs. This probably might be one of the blowouts of the week. Eventually.
And yeah, I got Tampa there. Up next, Green Bay at Tennessee. Pretty damn good win for the Packers on Sunday. I was not expecting a win. I picked the Colts. As you guys know, I know I picked the Colts though last week. So I was saying,
yeah.
But I know they're playing the Titans, Drew. So I'm assuming Malik Willis is going to start again. But I was reading that Jordan Love was really close to playing last week, and I think since they won, they're probably pushing it another week. And I don't blame him. I'd kind of try to weather it as long as I could. But Tennessee, you guys probably agree with me. Levis has looked just make some bonehead decisions with the football.
It looks like shit.
I mean, just some of the dumbest.
So are they good though? Because they've been in both games. Like, are they a good team?
I don't know.
Well, in my opinion, they should probably be at least 1-1.
They could easily be 2-0.
I mean, that's
most teams can't say that. They can.
That's Will Levis is the reason that Bears fans are kind of just like sitting there right now. They're 0-2. They'd be panicking, and the Bears didn't win that game. The Titans lost that game.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Will Levis looked like shit.
That throw where it's like the beam now of him like this. Yeah. I mean, that is one of the worst.
I was watching that.
The defense took advantage of the opportunities given.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys flipped on the Tennessee Jets game at all last weekend, but he had one of the same plays last. It was 3rd and 5 in the red zone, and he's getting sacked, and he pitches it backwards to Ty Spears. And when he's getting sacked, and the Jets fall on it, and they lose 3 points there immediately. They lose 3 points.
This is Malik Willis versus Will Levis. I mean, this is kind of anybody's game. I mean, to say that Tennessee can't win this game would be.
Well, I'm not saying they can't win it.
I think Green Bay is the more found team.
Tennessee's favored
by what?
Where the hell did I go?
Oh, 3.
That's because they're the home team. I'm still going to take the Packers. I think they're more fundamentally sound.
But
it wouldn't shock me if Tennessee is in this game.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be in the game. I'm sure it'll be a close game. I think the Packers are a more well-coached team. Malik Willis did everything he was told to do last week and didn't do anything more. When you watch Will Levis play, you don't know what you're going to get out there as far as decision-making goes. So if the Packers follow a game plan like they did this past week against the Colts, I don't see any reason why they can't be in a position to win again. So I'm going to take the Packers.
And for Tennessee's standpoint, you're telling him you can't make those same mistakes this week.
Yeah.
And if you do, next week there's going to be quarterback competition. Lay the law down.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's what it is in the NFL. You turn the ball over, you lose. You're fucked.
You lose.
So, Drew, you taking the Packers too?
I like Green Bay. I thought Willis did a pretty good job. Not trying to get too cute with stuff, just kind of took what the game gave him. And also, didn't Tennessee trade him to the Packers?
Yeah, for a 7th-round pick.
Might play with a little chip on his shoulder. And
yeah.
I don't think it really makes any difference if he plays or if Love plays, just specifically this week, because if it's Love's first game back, I mean, I think they're going to try to keep him in the pocket. They're not going to do nothing crazy. I mean, I think they're going to try to play a very slow and well-balanced game like it is.
I don't see this game being like in the 30s.
I bet this game's 20-17.
Yeah. Which, if that's the case, I mean, it's anybody's game.
I do want to give credit, though, that Green Bay's offensive line looked really good last week.
It did.
They were doing a phenomenal job. But we all got the Packers in this one. So we still have yet to differ, and I'm sure we're not going to differ here.
Oh, crap. I'll just skip this one.
Carolina, Jake, go ahead.
Vegas so far with the upset of the year.
Yeah.
Over Baltimore. Upset of the year. I know it's 2 weeks in, but that's a lot of games to pick from. So they looked really good. What do they call his name? Minshew Mania or whatever.
Minshew.
Mania. I mean, I just couldn't believe the score when I kept looking, and they're in it. So I finally turned it on the end of the third, early of the fourth. A good game. Baltimore to me, I don't know where they're at.
I think I want to say Baltimore's kind of fraudulent.
Well, I think teams have always thought that, but so I'm going to take Vegas. I think they benched who?
They benched Bryce Young. Andy Dalton is starting for Carolina.
Okay, I mean that's a formidable backup. I mean he's played a lot.
Yeah,
and he's won some games, but I just think Vegas coming off of this win at home.
Yeah,
that crowd's going to be crazy. Because Carolina fans probably won't flock there like many fan bases do because of how bad they are this year.
Yeah.
So that place is going to – after this win, I'm sure that – what do they call it, the black hole? They used to. That place is going to be insane after that win.
Yeah, I'm going to take Vegas. I think if they get off to a 2-1 start, like you said, the fans there will be pretty excited.
Yeah, I mean,
and really they're a team that could sneak in. If you just keep hanging around like they're doing. Carolina just looks awful. They're probably the worst team in football. They have the potential to go 0-17.
They're the worst team in football until somebody proves me otherwise.
Yeah, they are bad.
It's early, but 0-17 talks kind of
They'll win a game or two.
They'll
Maybe.
probably will win a game, but I mean,
and it's going to be a game you don't expect.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing. Like, what week do you take them?
I don't know. I'd have to look at
I
their
don't
schedule.
think it's this week after how I seen Vegas play on the road.
But I did see though, like last week, obviously Bryce Young gets benched this week, but he had one of the cleanest pockets in the NFL last week from a standpoint of he didn't get pressured.
I think he's short. I think he struggles to see over the line, and yeah. I don't want. There were some rumors about him fitting with Miami. Nah, please no.
So Stephen A. called him a bigger bust than Jamarcus Russell. I mean, the guy's only.
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and act like he's on a good team though.
No.
Carolina, I don't think they've.
Jake's got to get better Wi-Fi.
Anything. I don't think it's the Wi-Fi.
I don't know what it is. Anyways, technical difficulties again. But what were you saying about Carolina?
I just don't think there's nobody there. Who's he throwing to? Who's his running backs? Who are they?
He's got Adam Thielen as his wide receiver.
Okay, that guy's older than my mom. I feel like he's been in the league for 17 years, hasn't he?
Xavier Legette, that South Carolina rookie. Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, we'll move on. We all got Vegas.
I think this game's over by halftime.
Miami at Seattle.
What's the spread, Drew?
Tough.
Spread is
Seattle 4.5.
Tough, pretty tough week for Miami and their fan base. Sad to see Tua get another concussion. I seen they're putting him on the IR. I'm going to take Seattle in this game. Seattle's a team that's always going to be in the game. I feel like they got enough. They're pretty well coached. They do what they're supposed to. They got some studs at wide receiver with Smith, Najigba, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett. Kenneth Walker's really good. I know he's hurt. Not really sure what's going to go on there, but their backup running back, sorry if I pronounce this wrong, Charbonnet.
That's who's starting for Seattle?
At running back, yeah, I think.
So they're
Kenneth Walker, nobody really knows what's going on there yet. But I'm going to take Seattle in this one. I just think Miami's going to have – I would foresee them having a tough time moving the ball.
I just don't understand the Dolphins so far. Their offense looks very bad, very bad. They were lucky to get away with the Week 1 win. But their offense looks very bad. The defense, to be completely honest with you, doesn't look bad. Last week they gave up 30 points, but 14 of those were because Tua threw interceptions and they picked sixes.
Yeah.
And then he threw another interception that led to a touchdown. But when the defense was out there, I mean, I watched them force a punt. I watched them stop them on 4th down. The defense looked good in Week 1.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't looked great, but I would say the defense has been better than the offense. But I don't understand how Miami can't move the ball like they were doing last year. Have teams found them out or what? Because no other team really has. I mean, all these scores are higher than the Dolphins, and I just don't understand it because they have one of the best offenses in the league. So Mike McDonald, because he's been coaching like he should be working at McDonald's lately, needs to throw the ball down the field. Quit the shit behind the line of scrimmage. I got 2 wide receivers out towards the end of the line of end line, and he just throws it.
Yeah.
So now he's got to beat that guy one-on-one, or I'm pitching it back 5 yards, so I got to get 5 yards before I get 1.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dolphins run these types of plays every fucking down. It's so fucking annoying. And I cried and I bitched and I complained about it last week at the game. They need to throw the ball downfield. And I think they won't have problem.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they've got a lot of weapons in that offense. I'm surprised that, like you said,
A-Chain had a good week last week.
Yeah, he did. Great week. One of the reasons
Hill and Waddle. You've got to throw the mother. Trust your quarterback, then what are we doing? It seemed like he didn't trust Tua last week, even in Week 1. So And I'm not even going to sit here and watch this game and watch him let Skylar Thompson throw 10 times the whole game because I can already foresee it. Oh, what was his first game? We want to ease him into it. Fuck that. You signed Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Throw the damn ball.
Drew?
I got Seattle. I think it's going to be somewhat low scoring. I think if the Dolphins do the little shit right, this game could be closer than people think.
Yeah.
And don't write the Dolphins off, especially if their running game's going. And if they actually do, I don't watch much of the Dolphins, but if they actually start running some slants or some post routes, I mean,
yeah, like he's saying,
I don't know. I'm not picking them, but I don't know.
I watched Skylar Thompson take the Miami Dolphins into Buffalo in the freezing cold and go neck to neck with Josh Allen and lose that wild card game. 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great game. It's warmer. You've got the same weapons. You're basically the same team. You've been in the offense now, Skylar. I just don't. The Dolphins, I think, can play with them. I think they can play in this game. I think they've got the talent. I'm taking Seattle because I don't trust the Dolphins. But I think Miami can win this game. There. I said it, but I'm taking Seattle.
All right. Up next, Detroit at Arizona.
This is a good game.
It should be a great game. I'm going to take Arizona.
None of us have deferred. No one's picked against each other.
No, I think we will here, though.
So we got Detroit at Arizona, both two good teams. I mean, Arizona could easily be 2-0 if they don't blow a 17-0 lead at Buffalo.
Yeah. Kyler looks phenomenal.
Kyler looks good. They look like a good team. I wouldn't mind. I mean, you're going to have to put up points to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Arizona at home.
Yeah, I also like Arizona at home. Kyler might be the best quarterback in football right now, just the way he's playing. I mean, he looked phenomenal.
Detroit kind of reminds me of Philadelphia. Very fraudulent. And I think a lot of that has to do with their head coach. They are in over their head. Not that they can't do the job. They just think they're smarter than the other team. Don't you kind of get that vibe with Sirianni and Dan Campbell? Like, hey, we're going to go for it all the time.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to run. Like,
Yes and no. I do think Campbell needs to kind of get away from – he was trying to bring a team back from the floor. And now he's trying to get them better. And it's like they had a great year last year.
Probably should have been in the Super Bowl.
I just think – I mean, there's a time and a place. If it's
if
it's week 7 and it's fourth and 8 and you want to say fuck it, let's go for it, that's fine. But when you're in a playoff game or like a big game, like you got to use your head and not trying to hang. He tries to see who can dangle their nuts lower, and it's gonna bite him in the ass again this year if they do it again.
Hey, the winningest coach always said in the NFL, take the points.
However, I like the Lions this week. Because I think we'll have him ready.
They're still a top 10 team in the league. Even if they lose this game, the Lions are a very good football team.
Yeah.
I mean, they just are.
This should be a really fun game. This should be a really fun game to watch.
Yeah, and this next game's really good too.
Yeah. This would probably be the game of the week if you didn't have
There's a lot of good 3:00 games.
Yeah. So up next, Ravens Cowboys. Two teams coming off
bad losses.
Yeah, I was gonna say embarrassing.
Bad losses.
Dallas was pathetic.
Putrid.
Baltimore blew that one bad.
This
fuck, I don't
this
know
is
where I
hard.
want to go with this.
Baltimore at Dallas. Both teams need a win. Baltimore needs it. I don't know that Baltimore needs it more because the way Dallas played last week at home in front of those fans, after what they did week 1, they dismantled Cleveland when Cleveland had expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And now they got a good win in Jacksonville. So nobody thought that after how you watched I mean, we both said we thought Dallas was week 1 winners.
Yeah.
They played probably the best. Then they do that.
Yeah.
They're such an unpredictable team.
Yeah.
They remind me of the Dolphins. So unpredictable.
I think if there's any team, though, in the NFL to where they read so much into the media, like I'm not saying Dak Prescott, but like Micah Parsons doing his talk shows and stuff every week. I don't know if any team
Tyreek Hill
buys into the media as much as the Cowboys do.
I think the Dolphins are.
And I think it gets into their head. They get in over their heads. They just think that they're going to walk in and beat everybody. They're better than everybody. And I don't.
But when Dallas loses at home, they get dismantled. Yeah. Like Green Bay went in there. What they score in that playoff game?
40-some points.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For some reason, when Dallas plays at home, they're shootouts. I don't know if it's the dome, if it's the weather. But what is it?
I don't know.
They get killed at home.
I think when there's expectations for Dallas,
they play. Dallas
choke.
plays better on the road.
They do.
Facts. They play better on the road. But with all that being said, I'm taking the Cowboys.
Are you?
I'm taking Dallas. I think that there's no way Jerry Jones is good. There's no way if it happens again, shit's gonna hit the fan.
I'm gonna take Baltimore. Baltimore cannot. Baltimore. It's gonna be super hard to get out of an 0-3 hole. So I think Baltimore needs this game more than Dallas. I agree with what Jake's saying about the tough loss last week at home. Got to come back from it, but Baltimore needs this win.
These are two.
But I do think Dallas is the better team though.
These are two even matched teams.
Yeah.
Kind of. I think you get. Who do you get? I mean, maybe Baltimore the edge with Lamar at quarterback position. I mean, who's better?
To me, Dak is a pretty damn good regular season quarterback. I think wide receiver, you got to go Dallas. Everybody talks about Dallas's defense. Dallas's defense does not scare me. So I'm going to take the Ravens
what do you think,
with Derrick Henry and just run the damn ball.
I got the Ravens. I don't think they're going to start out 0-3.
Yeah.
And, last week was kind of ugly, but don't forget, week 1, they were literally that close to having a 2-point conversion chance to beat the Chiefs.
But this isn't in an 0-2 hole, and you look and see week 3 at Dallas. That's not what you want to see after 0-2.
It's not what you want to see, but I think Baltimore's going to win.
I agree.
All right, I got Dallas. So that first different pick.
Second.
We've had 2 so far back to back. But let's get into San Francisco at the Rams. So I don't know if you could really get off to a more brutal start. Like if I was a Rams fan, I'd be crushed. Like you just lost your 2 top wide receivers for at least the next 4 weeks.
And they played
Stafford
pretty good. I mean, they played pretty good football.
Week 1. Last week they looked terrible.
No, which was it? Detroit. They looked pretty good.
Yeah, week 1.
I thought they were going to be a wild card team, but they're not getting out of this hole.
Stafford. This game might get ugly, and I know San Francisco is down Deebo Samuel and McCaffrey, but San Francisco is not going to look like shit 2 weeks in a row.
I think San Francisco is going to absolutely obliterate them.
Yeah, they might blow the doors off, and there's going to be more Niners fans there than Rams fans.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. This is kind of going to be a home game for San Francisco. It's a very unfortunate that this team's allowed this to happen, but this is the case where it is. My neighbor must be, I don't know, fucking with his bike because he always got to do something outside. So I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers in a blowout.
Yeah, I'm taking the Niners too. Sunday Night Football, Kansas City at Atlanta.
Now, this is a game that I feel is going to be a lot closer than people think.
I agree with you. I was going to say that. Upset of the week, I'm taking Atlanta. I want to get it in there.
I like that too as the upset. We take the same upset pick?
Yeah.
Kansas City 3.5.
I like Atlanta. For some reason, I just think coming off of a win, Kansas City to me always seems like they kind of survive.
Yeah.
A lot of games. You knew that pass interference was getting called, and don't get me wrong, it was pass interference. But how many times have you seen that not called in the game?
A lot.
So
Kansas City, I mean, losing Pacheco for 6 to 8 weeks is a big loss.
I just think Atlanta does it. I don't know why.
I like Kansas City.
Yeah,
it is going to be a close game though.
I mean, Bijan Robinson looked really damn good last night. Yeah. They were doing a fine job blocking. You got to keep Kirk in the pocket. And once he starts getting pressured, he's a terrible quarterback.
Yeah. The thing I just hate about the Chiefs is I cannot stand the Chiefs, and it sucks. But like they're so good.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't lie. You can't.
Yeah, but they never have you noticed they never kill anybody?
They always find a way.
They play in such good games, and they just know how. That's what they know how to win.
Yeah.
When it's time to make a winning play, they do.
And I want to ask you guys this question because maybe you'll agree, maybe you won't. But watching the Chiefs so far this year, I feel like Kelsey, maybe he's just a decoy, but I think he's lost it.
I agree.
I think he's lost his step. I mean, he has not looked great. He looks slow out there.
Maybe.
It might be too early to call it, but you can't tell me he hasn't looked. He's non-existent.
Yeah. I mean, they're 2-0.
I know they're 2-0, but I'm strictly talking about him though.
I know. I'm just saying it must not be hurting them.
No. Monday Night Football, Jacksonville at Buffalo.
This could be a good game just for the fact that Jacksonville's 0-2, and like you said, you can't dig yourself an 0-3 hole.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jacksonville's not a bad football team.
Nope, they haven't won since November of 2023.
So,
but
I'm going to take Buffalo because they're another team that finds a way to win at home. But this is going to be one of those games that's close.
Yeah, and I don't want to pick against Buffalo and Josh Allen, but I am going to take Jacksonville here.
That's why that's kind of crazy.
I'm going to take Jacksonville. I'm going to do 2 upsets this week.
I would not be surprised if Jacksonville won this game, and I know Jake was kind of saying how they scored. How many points did they put up in Miami?
17.
No, the Buffalo Bills.
Over
the Bills
30?
put up 30.
Yeah, and some of those were defensive scores and
Yeah,
stuff.
their offense hadn't looked good.
But I think
James Cook looked good that night.
I might be wrong, but I think what happened to Tua kind of steered the media away from the fact that the Bills went into Miami and handled that game. I thought that game was I thought the Dolphins were going to win that game.
Well, I think a lot of people did.
And I'm going with the Bills.
Okay. And we have 2 Monday night games. So the second one, Washington at Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Cincinnati will not start 0-3.
This is a big game.
Cincinnati.
This is a big game for this. If the Bengals start 0-3, I mean, you're not done, but with the extra wild card team. But
that's the thing too.
I'm taking the Bengals.
What happens if they lose this game? And then what happens if the Ravens lose too? Because the 2 favorites for this division will both be 0-3.
Yeah. And you'll have the Browns.
The Browns aren't going to win it.
Yeah.
So and the Steelers would technically be in the.
I would still put money on Cincinnati and Baltimore winning this division if they both start 0-3.
Cincinnati looked pretty damn good.
I really would put money on Cincinnati. They did. They look good. That looked like Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Yeah. But Jamar Chase, did you guys see him flip out on that referee?
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of costly.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to keep his emotions in check. You can't be doing that. They'll probably get T. Higgins back this week. Jake, Mike Gesicki, he looked phenomenal. Wasn't expecting that, but he looked great in that game.
But
I'm taking Cincinnati.
It might be a hot take what I said, but if these 2 teams say they do both start out 0-3, I would still pick one of those 2 teams to win that division.
I agree.
Yeah. Yep.
But people said this was going to be the best division in football, and so far it's not looking too good.
NFC North looks pretty good though.
But that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got. Drew, anything?
That's all.
All right, everybody enjoy your week.